27-inch matte screen in the lab back at Southampton. But what she was saying about mind mapping was very interesting, and anybody who came to my mind mapping talk will know that actually she also added the fact that she wanted to do tags for her mind map. She wanted to find the metadata, the bits that were the information behind what she was thinking about, and whether she could link deeper. And one of the projects that we're hoping to do this summer is to look at how we can take websites that have similar content, link them together, so that students can actually find it far more easily. Say the topic is disability. We know out there there's a wealth of websites that all talk about similar things, but they all use slightly different terms. The result is that from Google, you'll get a million hits. We want to make this slightly easier for students by being able to use what's called linked data. It's a very technical issue, and it's something that I'm struggling with as a speech and language.
Personality, sense of belonging, telling the story, giving directions. Aspects of personality? Absolutely. What do you think Sarah's trying to do? Aspects, she's belonging. She's trying to be part of this gang and hanging out and talking to them, okay? So that's one example. Here's Melody. This is the typical way Melody looks. So the students, there was a, she's in a self-contained classroom. There's a reverse mainstreaming project. Kids from gen ed classes come in and work in that classroom. And they all saw Sarah, Melody, as being extremely disabled. She wasn't one of the kids that they gravitated to hang out with. They just didn't get her at all. This is sort of her typical posture, just like this, head down. This day, the teacher, actually the para set it up. They're going to do morning announcements to the whole school on a TV screen that's being taught.
That's going to be a shadow. Now, with short throw projectors, it's not too bad, because instead of having the shadow in front of you, the shadow is now below you, and it makes it a little bit easier for you to see what you're doing. It still means that you can't actually see the whole screen, and that's, for some kids, is important. This is Chris. Chris is so deep on the spectrum you wouldn't believe. Lovely lad. Loves working on a computer, and hates interactive whiteboards. He's fascinated by it. He goes over, he wants to do stuff, and you can see he's going over there to try and touch his face in Choose It Maker. And he goes over to touch it, and some big black something or other gets in his way. So he looks at it and he thinks, right, okay, I'll go over here then. And it follows him. And he goes over this side and it follows him. And at that point he turns to me and says, excuse me, sir, by the way.
That we have some expertise and judgment, that we can have some strategies that we can assist children with that enable them to be more active, to be able to achieve or achieve an outcome for that child, so that they feel more successful, and that we can build that success into eventually independent access to their environment and communication. So I'm not going to go into that at the moment, but hopefully through the process of the case study, you'll see some of that problem solving, and we'll do a little bit of it together. Okay, we're going to look at a little boy called Reese. He's just under 2 years of age, and this is a little bit of video that was sent to us by his family before we actually had met him. Just going to have a little look. Just get my glasses because I can't see. You want to have a video on? This always happens. You check it, everything's fine.
And you many times will have, at least in my world, we'll have some students that will just sit there and go, just no idea. So if we are able to teach them to make a little note themselves, they're able to scan through that information, and you can ask them a question if you want to, and you also can, for example, put in a Word document, save as text, and then what we'll do is put in a voice note. So now they can have an oral exam, and you can go back and listen to it, which is very cool. We have highlighted within this unit as well, and bookmarking, so like turning pages so we can navigate through this. We also deploy MP3, WAVE, OGG, Vorbis, and WMA unprotected, as well as that DAISY material. What's exciting about DAISY? DAISY stands for the Digital Accessible Information Systems. It's an international standard that says that publishers are required to put your pages, chapters, and sections in. I'm going to show you a resource today with Word that allows you to create free DAISY material.
it actually, the two main tools that are used, the two main products for speech recognition, keeps dropping out, is in Windows environment it's Dragon Naturally Speaking, and in the Mac environment it's Mac Speech. Both those tools belong to Nuance, the company Nuance who supplies those tools, but you need a different tool for each different operating system. Dragon Naturally Speaking has 3 versions: Standard, Preferred and Professional. If you're using Standard, you will get Standard because you wanted a student in your class or in your program to be able to dictate the speech into the computer and have that speech up as text in Microsoft Word, for instance. And they could do a few basic commands in Word and on the internet.
It's accepted or not, whether you cite something that was previously in that journal. There's 2 ways, however, where it might. One is, quite genuinely, it helps that journal to develop a coherent voice. I'm always delighted if somebody has read a previous issue and wants to respond. They want to write an article responding to that. But realistically, we also know that it flatters editors and reviewers that somebody's been reading the same journal. So for both those reasons, one rather better than the other, it's useful to cite previous publications. And if you're writing about a topic that's relevant to the journal, I'm sure it will have published previously on the same topic. And you'll want to check what it's published because you don't want to repeat anything. Pay particular attention to the abstract. All journals ask you to write an abstract, a short summary of your article at the beginning. You don't have to give away all your results there. It's quite an art writing an abstract. You certainly can't write it until you've finished the whole.
He's a character. So, oops. So if we then have him in mind and then think about, have a look at the ICF, health condition, the diagnosis. Why is it so important to know what the diagnosis of your student is? Let's say Josh has cerebral palsy, and as Josh mentions, let's break it down into groups. We have ataxia, we have where it's difficulty coordinating movements. We have hypotonia, weak muscle strength. We have spasticity, where the brain is sending the wrong messages to the muscles, and dystonia. And like if we were just told that, yeah, he has cerebral palsy, we wouldn't really know.
25%. And for some students who might have nystagmus or not severe low vision, all they need sometimes is just a little bit of magnification. You can select whether you want the magnification to follow the mouse pointer or the keyboard focus. So that's nice too if you're doing a lot of data entry or text entry, because it can bring up the little the lens, which I'll show you, and then the lens will follow you along as you're entering your data. So it's on full screen. Does that actually work with games, full screen games? As you can see, if you're using it on full screen, it's like any